Hey, I'm one of the developers working on Dwerve. I got some really good tips and tricks for you. So you can move around with the arrow keys, plug in a joystick at any point in time, but also you can click on the screen with the mouse, and if you hold down left click, Dwerve will follow your mouse around. I don't necessarily think that makes it better, but it might be something that you like. Above Dwerve's head, you can see the number of power stones that you have. So as I recall these, you'll see that it go up. In the bottom right corner, that blue bar, that's not mana, that's your dash. So as you can see, after I dash, it recharges. Okay, so when you get in a battle, use all of your power stones. I see people trying to save their power stones, but that doesn't really give you any advantage. So it's a lot better to put down firepower early on than to try to build towers once you're already overwhelmed. If you ever get overwhelmed, that's the point of the dash. When you're cornered like this, what you should do is dash through the enemies, reposition, and then it'll be much easier to survive. So remember that Dwerve is kind of like a mobile tower. And if you're running in circles like this, Dwerve won't throw his boomerang. You have to stand still to throw the boomerang, and it's an auto throw. Also, it doesn't make sense for me to, for example, stand out here and let some of these knobbling dart spitters attack me, unless I'm really good at dodging like that. So try to stay behind your towers. You can, however, use them trying to get to you to your advantage by kiting them. For example, here, these melee guys are trying to hit me and they're missing, but I'm giving the crossbow time to attack them. And don't forget, you can dash through enemies, which also does damage and a little bit of knockback, so you might even knock them into the water. During battles, you may end up seeing a ton of corpses, and if that to you is visually bothersome, you can go to options and you can turn off blood and you can turn off corpses. Now check it out. Whoop! They faded away. That was pretty cool. I forgot we did that. This one should be kind of obvious, but the shield guys, they block arrows, and you can see it says block right above them. It literally deals no damage. So, boom! Did you see that knockback from the dash? So what you want to do is you want to use the melee weapons against the shield guys. All right, now that we're here, let me show you something else. I see a lot of people have trouble with puzzles, and it's because they forget about this one simple mechanic with levers. With the lever, you can pull it twice. And you see that? It doesn't open the same door every time. So knowing that you can pull a lever twice should make it much easier for you to solve puzzles. So this is something I probably should have mentioned first. At any point in time in Dwerve, what you can do if you're having trouble with a battle, just go to options and change the difficulty. We have a ton of difficulty options here, and they actually change how the game is played. So for example, if you play in challenge mode, you'll respawn with full health only when starting a new level. You can destroy destructibles with your boomerang, but you can also dash through them. One of the first upgrades that you want to get in the workbench is the projectile resistance. The reason you need this is because if you don't take projectile resistance, you're gonna have a hard time against ranged units. One of the most powerful combos in the game is to put a spike trap in front of a slice tower. The reason why this is so powerful is because instead of just walking over the spike trap, the enemies have to stand on it while they try to attack the spin blade. And I see people totally forget about this OP strat as soon as they get out of this maze. So this might be one of the hardest first battles that you start, and I see people do this. They just stand here and they just hide in the corner. And while, you know, hiding in the corner is pretty good, you have to notice that, look, there is stuff in the environment set up for you to take advantage of. Like, look at the environment and try to reposition yourself into the most optimal places. So when you get a new turret, it's important that you go and upgrade it right away. Your other turrets are gonna already have upgrades, so they're gonna be more powerful, and you're gonna think that the new turret is weak. So go and upgrade the new turret right away, and then you'll also see what it specializes at. So for example, here we can see that this is all about doing AoE spread shot damage, right? So it's still not ideal for long range. We can see its range is shorter than the crossbow. So every level has a hidden chest, and what you'll need to do to get to it is find a hidden key, as well as usually do a puzzle to get to the chest. This chest puzzle is really simple. This is early on in the game. It's just one lever, but hey, at least it's hidden, right? And a hidden key that you need to find. I'll show you the secret for this key. Spoiler alert, it's behind this mushroom. It's important to get these chests because look at how much scrap came out of that. Remember that Dwerve is a little bit like rock, paper, scissors. So for example, in this battle here, we can see ranged enemies are coming. So we're gonna put the crossbow down. We're not gonna put the pebble shooter down because that's a close range AoE weapon, right? And also don't forget to use all your power stones. Like 3 crossbows here are gonna take down the gob wasps before they can overwhelm you. It might be tempting to have power stones saved up for once you get overwhelmed, but the game's not designed to help you once you are overwhelmed. You have to stop yourself from being overwhelmed. So here spiders came from the top, and basically what I need to do now is just move one of my turrets over there. How the game design works is that it's about moving your turrets to new locations. And when your turrets are damaged, like this one here, don't let it stand there damaged. If you have the opportunity, if there's a moment for you to rebuild it, because it'll have full HP. So a pro thing to do is to rebuild turrets. Look how quickly I can rebuild a turret when I'm right on top of it. And that gets full HP every time. So don't just watch your turrets go down. It might be worth it to sometimes take a little bit of damage just to rebuild that turret. So this battle right here, I want to show you how to address a battle. We just got the pebble shooter, which can knock enemies into water and pits. And check it out, there's water and pits here, right? So that implies that you should use the pebble shooter. However, down here, it might be kind of hard to knock them into the water, right? So you got to think about the position of it. Maybe if I place it here, I'll knock them into the water. But a good thing to do would be to probably just put a spin blade there. So I'm going to put this here, and let's start the battle. Another option would have been to put a crossbow here because it would take a long time for the enemies to go all the way around to get to the crossbow. And now we can see the pebble shooter knocking the enemies into the pits there, also supporting each other because they're close enough. So what I should actually do is go down here and use my boomerang to make sure this doesn't fall and so I can rebuild it. So in chapter 2, you get a hammer smash. And this is kind of like Dwerve's ultimate. It's really powerful. It knocks back enemies, deals damage. Check it out. And it gives you invincibility frames. It makes you invincible for a little bit while you're doing it. A cool thing about it is that you refresh it at the workbench. And if you look in the bottom right corner, there's a wing there. You see that? You see that wing? So after using the ability, the wing goes away. And once you get close to a workbench, that wing reappears. And the reason why you can only use this once is because it's really powerful. Okay, so I set up these 3 crossbows to show you some cool recall tricks. If you hold the recall button, it will show you which turret you're about to recall. And it's the one I'm facing, so check it out. If I look left, if I look right, and if I look down, it switches which one I'm gonna recall. So careful where you're looking, because if you just look the wrong way for a second, it'll imply that you want to recall that turret. In the comment section below, let me know if you think I should make a combo video. For example, the tar trap, which slows enemies, and then a bunch of spikes. I'll see you guys next time. Check this out. There's a secret right here. Shh.